All right, what's going on, guys? No checking in. Another video continuing my series with author, counselor, depression survivor, wounded healer of wounded healers, Douglas Bloch. Douglas, go ahead and say hi.
Hi, everybody.
We are going to go ahead and tackle another topic of mental health, which is building your self-esteem through affirmations. Douglas has actually written a book on positive affirmations. He has helped me through my depression. He is beloved to me. I hope you guys can enjoy this video and learn from him as I have. Let's go ahead and get started. So what is self-esteem, first of all, and why is it so important?
Well, self-esteem, I'm going to read the definition I like from the book of the same title.
Perfect.
It's used in psychology to reflect a person's overall emotional evaluation of his own worth. It's a judgment of oneself as well as an attitude towards the self. And why is it important? Because one of the classic symptoms of depression is low self-esteem, or as they say, I think it's excessive or inappropriate guilt and feelings of worthlessness.
Sure.
Mike Wallace, the great TV commentator, used to say that he felt lower than a snake's belly. I thought about that. That's awfully low, isn't it? I mean, how can you get lower than a snake's belly, right?
You have to be underground.
So if you're going to adapt the kind of self-care activities that I and Noah talk about, you have to have some sense that you're a person of value, some sense that you're worth it. And if you don't, you're not going to do them.
Of course.
So self-esteem has to come in order for you to have the motivation and the courage to do some of these activities.
This also might sound self-explanatory, but what happens to the self-esteem of people that are suffering from depression?
Well, as I said before, it just plummets. It just basically, it's one of the cardinal symptoms of what it is like to be depressed.
Well, just no sense of self at all. Yeah.
Not worth it. You know what the lowest self-esteem people say that pisses me off? Sorry about this. It's that the world would be better off without me.
Oh, of course.
I mean, I have to say that, my self-esteem has never been great, but at least when I was alive, I knew there were some people who cared about me. But
Absolutely.
when someone says the world would be better off without me, I mean, that person doesn't think, and that's not true.
No,
anybody who's listening or watching, that's not true. There is somebody out there who cares about you, who values you, and so you can start to value yourself too.
Absolutely, but that's also, as you know, that's just a very common way of thinking when you're severely depressed.
It is.
It's hard to imagine you are of any value anymore,
Right.
no matter how untrue or false that might be.
So something you might say to yourself is, I am a valuable person, which comes to your next question, right, which is,
how can affirmations help a person with their self-esteem?
affirmations can be really beneficial, Noah, because they focus on or affect something called the self-talk. Now, we all know what self-talk is, right? It's that little conversation we have in our heads that goes back and forth, back and forth. So I like to say there's a yes voice in our head and a no voice in our head. Not the big no of you, but the no voice, the negative voice, right?
Of course.
So I'm going to read some things, some examples. Like the yes voice would say, I can. The no voice would say, I can't.
Right.
I can try. No, I'm afraid to do it. I am good enough. You're no good. I can handle it. No, I can't cope. I'm special. You're a loser. And so, we have this kind of like playing badminton or tennis back and forth. Well, when you're depressed, the no voice has the upper hand, right?
Of course.
So you have to call out the reinforcements and do something to reinforce the yes voice.
Yeah.
So that's what an affirmation is. It's a positive idea or phrase that you use to consciously focus on to basically achieve a goal or have a certain feeling. And because they affirm the yes voice, affirmations can be very, very potent in helping people to heal from depression, because they support that poor little yes voice, which is overpowered by the negative voice.
Of course, and this is one of those things that I think for a lot of men, perhaps even more so than women, there's a pride factor. And even if they're really depressed, they almost feel embarrassed to try to say these words out loud. Well, I can say from personal experience, and you coached me through this, doing the action, a learned action, and training yourself to do it does have benefits to the way you think. It's just a matter of basically admitting that you need help, and if you're willing to try anything, you should try positive affirmations, that's for sure. Okay, so how can we create affirmations to enhance our self-esteem?
I'm going to give a really simple exercise which the viewers can go ahead and do as they listen to me, or they can rewind the video afterwards and do it on their own. So you close your eyes basically, and you think back to a time in your life where you felt good about yourself.
Okay.
Maybe you did a kind deed, maybe you did an action that you were proud of, maybe you accomplished something.
Sure.
Just try to re-experience that in your mind's eye, because remember in an earlier video we said the mind cannot tell the difference between an imagined experience and a real one.
Of course.
And then I want you, as you're doing that, to fill in the following sentences. I am blank. Like for me, when I was in my dark night of the soul, I would go back and think, I am courageous, right?
And so add one of those words.
And then you are.
Rocky,
we have a courageous dog right here trying to encourage me on.
Come here.
Anyway, so So I am blank, you are blank, and just fill
Right.
those words in. And then open your eyes and then basically write down each of those things 3 times.
Okay.
I am courageous, Douglas, you are courageous. I am courageous, Douglas, you are courageous. I am courageous, Douglas, you are courageous.
Okay.
And as you read these words out loud, just try to let them really come in and really embrace them. Now, if they come up like the negative voice, no, you're not,
Challenge it.
Challenge it. Just let that voice be. Don't give it any attention and come back to the positive again and again until the negative will eventually go away. Now, a really powerful technique is to, again, using the principle we talk about so much in these videos about reaching out for support, getting the help of others.
Right.
It would be helpful to have somebody say the affirmation to you. So I want you to do that for me right now. I want you to just basically, you're going to be the second person voice. And so
Okay.
just say, Douglas, you could say like, Douglas, you are courageous, or Douglas, you were courageous. You can go back and forth, although affirmations are supposed to be in the present tense. So I would just say, Doug, I'm going to close my eyes, just hear you say, Douglas, you are courageous.
Douglas, you are courageous. Douglas, you are courageous. Douglas, you are wickedly handsome.
Okay. And now I'm going to do the same for you. You close your eyes. I'm going
Okay.
to say, Douglas, I'm going to say,
Come on now.
Hey, come on, I got to get it myself. Okay, Noah, you are a loving person. Noah, you are a beautiful and loving person. Noah, you are a loving and wonderful person.
That felt nice.
It did. I could feel it. So try that with your loved one, with your friend, with your therapist.
Absolutely.
But go back and forth. And if you're on the receiving end, let yourself receive it. If you're on the sending end, just try to, merge with that individual and give them that.
Yeah.
Because, so much of that we hear in the news is negative. When we were growing up, so much of our parental voices were negative.
Sure.
There's been a lot more negative conditioning we've gotten. We don't deserve it because we are whole and beautiful beings within ourselves.
Sure.
And as they say in Buddhism, we have a beautiful Buddha nature within us,
Right.
a Christ nature, and that deserves to be reinforced.
So, are there any other techniques that we can use to increase the power of positive affirmations?
There is one technique which is really wickedly difficult to do, but one of the gurus of affirmations, Louise Hay, who wrote a book called You Can Heal Your Life, has a huge publishing house, Hay House. She used to tell me and others, look in the mirror and say your affirmation. Like, make eye contact with yourself. Ooh, that's so difficult.
No, it is. That is
like,
difficult.
it's like all the unworthiness, all the things I don't deserve. You deserve love. No. So to look in the mirror and say it to yourself and make eye contact and really mean it, it's really hard to hold that space because so many of us carry feelings of undeservedness and unworthiness. But if you can do that, if you can push through the resistance and get into the habit, people have told me it works miracles.
Yeah.
And as within, so without. As in the mind, so in the world. You'll see changes in your life, both inwardly and outwardly, if you can just look in the mirror and tell yourself what a beautiful person you are.
Like scanning yourself for positive, scanning the world for positive.
Yeah, but just looking in the mirror. It's tough. Try it out.
Oh, I've done it. Actually, when I was in rehab, it was something they wanted us to try to do, and I think I was filled with so much guilt and shame that it was really, really hard to look
You have to
myself
work
in
through
the
the
mirror.
resistance and just keep doing it until it
Yeah,
happens.
but
So, in conclusion, taking control of your self-talk and being in control of the messages you give yourself instead of the world or your conditioning is one of the best things you can do to recover from depression and have a happy and positive life.
All right. Thanks, Doug.
You're welcome.